This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome into the Triple Option. I'm Paul Catalina. Roy Ogletree just got back from the Far East.
He did.
And he has jet lag. And I didn't feel like telling him what I learned from Taylor Swift, that jet lag is a choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. But no, I respect the fact that he would not have been firing on all cylinders. So today we're going to do a mess around show because we only got two left. Steven's here tomorrow. We've already started compiling. We might just start out with message board geniuses.
I think we should.
And go into the wheel.
There's a solid list.
I think we have 6 maybe already or 7.
Yeah.
One of which was like 4 different things on the same topic that I might be able to string together in one character. I don't know yet. I don't know. So that's going to be tomorrow. And then sundown for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, Urban wins this round.
Bastard.
Yeah, exactly. So today, the first thing we're going to talk about is Bill Belichick, because it's a mess around show.
It is.
We're going to talk about Bill Belichick and his girlfriend and how weird that shit was.
So weird.
Then we're going to talk about something. And look, the Barstool Sports put this out there. I would never normally borrow a topic from Barstool, but it is a very intriguing argument to make. 100 men versus one gorilla.
Yep.
And how do you defeat them? Emery Winter will join us on set for that one. He and Garrett, apparently you guys have differing views on this.
So I was a little like, when he asked me about it, because I noticed it over the weekend as well, and his timeline apparently is just filled with this stuff. And he asked me about...
Look, Emery...
Of course.
I wouldn't say Emery's like a bro.
No,
but
he's
in the bro-duration. He's in that generation.
Yes.
He's in the manosphere a little bit. Like that's where it would be. I wouldn't call him just a straight up bro. I think he has levels.
Yes.
That people don't know. But yeah, like an onion. He's like an onion. He's an onion. But I do know that when you are 23 years old, you do walk in the bro sphere.
Happens. Yes.
You do. You walk in the bro environment. That's what you are. You know, I was a bro, you know, a little bit. You were a bro. Andrew's a bro right now. You know, even though there's like different levels to things. So we will, you know what, we'll bro out. And then after we have that discussion, then we're just going to end the show.
Cool.
Unless there's something else that is on my mind.
But
yeah, look, I wanted to do 3 more shows. It just works out well because again, I'm going to Dollywood this week. I'm very excited about that.
Have you been to Dollywood?
I've never been to Dollywood. I've never been to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, any of that. Like, never been there.
My daughter was begging to get us over there on the trip up. I didn't have time. I didn't have time to do it.
Yeah. Well, maybe when you go back and drop her off.
It's possible.
Now that you don't have to do all of the like stadiums, like you've already hit those.
I've hit them, yeah.
Yeah, you've hit those. So, you know,
make a little more time.
Maybe hit it on the way up.
It's a possibility.
So, yeah. I mean, this is the least you can do, Garrett.
I know.
Is this about you or about her?
Well, no, actually, yeah, it's about her. But she's identified this place in Pigeon Forge, this museum she's wanted to go to for a while, and I've kind of burst her bubble on that. So we'll get her out there.
Yeah. So I just think it's the least you can do.
Yeah.
Other than driving her up there and moving her in, you know, all the things that a parent does.
Yeah. Excited.
But I do want to talk about and it just ends very nicely. I'm leaving on Thursday. I'll be back in studio next Wednesday, you know, so we can tune it down. I've already thrown out some ideas for things we're going to do.
Ideas.
I feel like there's momentum building in the, well, I don't know what we should call ourselves, this group, because there's 4 of us in here.
Yeah.
The quad. That's
the quad doesn't hit
lame.
right. Yeah.
No, I mean, you know, in the square, I don't know. It's that, look, we'll figure it out, but different ideas that we're going to throw out. I will tell you my plan for this show, whatever the hell its name is going to be very, 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 very comedy centric.
Yes, it should be.
That is what it's going to be. Like, you know, we've had the big sports discussions and all that stuff, and we've tried to mix both. I think that if we just lean into the zaniness and forget about like I can be serious on the other show.
Exactly.
This one can be, Paul Catalina's zany sports hour.
It's like yin and yang. You just gotta,
I know. So that's
balance it out.
I think the more we lean in to that, and some of the comedy I've come up with is not necessarily sports related.
Right.
It's just stuff I think is funny and we need to get out there. I hope it's funny.
It'll be funny.
Here's the thing. If you don't think it's funny and I think it's funny,
then
here's the thing.
That matters.
It will just die. Like, we'll do it. It'll live there and people can laugh at it or not laugh at it. But I will feel better about it being out of my head.
Right.
Like, that's part of the creative process that is, I think, for anybody who does things like this, when you have ideas that you can't do or you're like, they're there and they're running around in your head. For example, last week talking to Pierre, and we stumbled across an idea to combine Brewster's Millions and Draft Day.
The movie. Yes.
Every time I'm in the shower, I think about that show, what it could be episodically, and I know that I don't have the wherewithal to write it.
Right.
I have ideas. I need like a writer to help me, but if I could find one and do it, I think it would be good.
I think it would too.
And here's the thing. More than likely, I'll die never having seen it come to life, even if I do write it, because getting a television show made is really, really hard.
But that's also, that would just put you in line with a lot of the great minds throughout history, right? Like how many people have had these stories or books or things that come out post-mortem? I mean, a lot of them. Some of the best works out there in art have come out post-mortem. So you just be following the line.
Yeah. So that's all, it's fine. Look, Van Gogh died thinking he was a failure.
He did. Actually, ironically, learned about the how they made the colors blue back then and the specific blue that went into making that painting like the night before last in a book. It's fascinating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Very fascinating.
Neat. The Starry Night.
That was one of them. But
Okay.
yeah, there were other ones out there. But
yes. No.
That specific blue, how they come about making it. It's fascinating.
Yeah. The self-portrait was really, really tragic and sad. He was just staring at himself, just right back.
They also had the one of his doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
interesting.
He was I don't want to be Van Gogh. I'm not going to cut my ear off or anything.
Right.
But it is like, I remember hearing Patton Oswalt, who's one of my favorite comedians in the entire world, talk about he has a bit about this movie called Deathbed, the bed that eats people. And he said, and this is years ago he did this bit, but there's a movie, and you can look it up on YouTube, called Deathbed, the bed that eats people. And the movie, the premise of the movie is like there's this like medieval spirit in the bed, and when people like have sex on this bed, it eats them. And it is the most low budget, awful, like 70s horror, like it's awful. And he said, like, the thing that drives me nuts about Deathbed, the bed that eats people, is that he's like, I've tried to write 3 movies. I've gotten like almost all the way through, and then I hit a wall and I just can't do it. I'm filled with doubt and rage and all this stuff, and I can't find the ending. He said, so one of 2 things happened with the guy who wrote Deathbed. Either he wrote it without any doubt, was like, oh, this is solid gold, or he had those feelings and then pushed through them.
It was probably that one, honestly. That's probably how that went.
Yeah. So I think about that all the time because it's really hard. Like, I think of bits for stand-up all the time. I write them out. I get 2/3 of the way and I'm like, oh, I don't have an ending. I don't have an ending to this joke. And then I'll find it into the joke. And then it's like, I don't like the joke anymore. Like, it's over. So the amount of dead, like if you just went through any comedian's like library of jokes, the amount of ones that are just dead or incomplete, it would be like a science lab of like lab mice that that the experiment didn't work on. Yeah. Like, it's just like, oh, look at that one. That's terrible. That's what it is. It's awful. So, but I'm hoping that this show will be the place where we can just go
throw it out
and
there.
do it. So the bosses are allowing me to do it. So I'm excited about it.
You should be.
I'm very excited about it. So I want to talk about Bill Belichick and his girlfriend because Tony, I think it's Dokapil. I don't know. I just know him as Tony from CBS This Morning. My mom loves that show. Right. She sends me clips. She didn't send me this one. She sends me clips from CBS This Sunday Morning, especially, at least every other week. So this must have been an off week.
Right.
And maybe she hasn't seen it. We've got a lot going on right now, but maybe she hasn't seen it. But if you have not seen it, Bill Belichick is doing an interview about his book and when his father was the Navy coach, and he's wearing a very tattered old Navy sweatshirt that might have been his dad's. Probably I don't know. It's beat to hell. And Tony asks him about Jordan Hudson, his girlfriend. And then he just asks a very innocuous question about how'd you guys meet? And then she says, we're not going to talk about that off camera. And it's this really awkward moment. Now, Tony has interviewed like people way more important than Bill Belichick.
Right.
And no one has ever no one, but like, it's never been that awkward. And, the comments, like Jordan Hudson then today got on Twitter.
Man, she wouldn't
which
do
she's
that.
never, like she's like made like 6 tweets in 5 years. And then today she got on Twitter and she just went through and commented on a lot of things or retweeted them, liked them, whatever.
Which are, go look at them. They're from
go look.
People.
It's weird. It's very weird. And it like, there's all these headlines about how North Carolina is concerned. I'm not really worried about Bill and his football acumen because that's the only way he gets up in the morning. But it's a very strange situation, Garrett. Very, very strange in that now you've got this like 27-year-old girl. No, she's younger than that. She's like 25.
I'm sure she's younger.
She's 25. And honestly, this is going to sound so weird and creepy, but I really hope that Bill is shooting blanks in his 70s.
He better be.
Because look, you can't like
clean him out.
Men can be fertile almost to 80 years old.
She is going to clean him out if he's not.
Yeah. I mean, like they're like, you know, like she is gonna have like she is just
there's a
hoping.
game plan. This reminds me so, and I said this to you earlier. Like the vibes I get from this are Anna Nicole Smith.
Yes.
It is very creepy. Like Belichick's not one of those dudes that he doesn't just have charisma dripping off of him. There's definitely an end goal here, and I don't understand. I guess maybe he's always been like such an odd duck and difficult to crack, and it's like a challenge. Like if you can be the one that gets him to seem like halfway normal, you know, maybe that's part of the reward too. And you're trying to get on some of that Super Bowl money, but there's some definite issues there. But it also seems like there's a lot of older dudes trying to do this. Like just swing pedophilic in my mind. But yeah.
So it is like I really feel like I ain't saying she's a gold digger, you know, like to quote
he was saying at that
the
time.
Insane prophet Kanye West. You ever think Jamie Foxx looks back on that time and goes, man, things have changed?
Oh, I think about that all the time. Like not just with him, but like the people that were around, like Diddy and them. Like, damn, man. That's if we only knew.
Did you hear Chappelle? Did you ever see Chappelle's monologue like on SNL a couple months ago when he was there talking about the Diddy parties and how he's like, I was never invited. He's like, that means I guess Diddy thinks I'm ugly. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure.
So it's and Dave has the best story about Kanye I've ever heard in that he told on the Tonight Show, and he when they're doing Chappelle's show, they Jay-Z invited the crew up to the studio to watch him to listen to him do the album that wound up being the I think it would have been the Black Album, maybe. I think that's the one.
Probably what, like 99? Yeah.
No, it was after 99, so it was in 2000. So that was like, I don't know, but whatever's right around that, like when he was in his real, like just hit after hit after hit. And so they went up there and Kanye was there, and Kanye had yet to really pop. But I mean, you knew him, like he was on other people's songs. He hadn't done that. And his phone rings and he's like, hey, whoever on the other end asked him, hey, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm in the studio listening to the new Jay-Z album. And the person asked him, oh, how did you get to do that? And Kanye goes, because my life is dope and I get to do dope shit.
Well, flaunt it, man, if you can get it.
Aziz Ansari told a story about it one time about Kanye used to go to the Comedy Store all the time. He was a big comedy fan back in the day before he lost his mind completely. But he was so he got invited to Kanye's house afterwards. And so he's like, yeah, well, I'm going to go, And so he's walking around and like all of a sudden the whole album 808s and Heartbreaks comes up, and he's like, what's going on? And he went to Kanye. He's like, hey, you're playing your own music at your own party? He's like, not weird. He's like, Aziz, these beats are dope.
Nah, that's a sign right there.
Yeah, that's a sign.
That's a sign.
Yeah.
That's a sign. You're dealing with some narcissism.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's I don't know where I was going with that other than like there are crazy things that happen, and this feels like one of those things like Anna Nicole Smith or just locking him in. And it's just so like you saw her like prepping him at the spring game and all these things. And Bill was on TV for a year. So now maybe he's adjusted to this stuff and the entertainment value of it. And I get that she's trying to like soften him up, especially as a college coach. I don't think anymore you can just be like, well, we're going to, I don't think you can be, but it was so weird. It is so weird. And I just hope he doesn't get her pregnant. I feel like
he better not.
I really feel like every parent that catches their kid having sex when they're really young, and you're like, you have to have the talk with them, but that like the talk's not going to stop them from doing it because how sex feels. You're like, well,
lie to yourself.
Yeah. Like you can't, like you can hope that like they're responsible and you've given them the talk, but ultimately you're going to be like, well, lost this battle. Just please don't get her pregnant. Like, I don't care how sweet and wonderful you think she is. You're not ready for this in your life, and the same thing applies to senior citizens and 24-year-olds. Just whatever you do, Bill, don't get her pregnant. Don't do it. It's not gonna end well for anybody.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of other like crazy sports relationships and things that have gone on. And then the first one, for whatever reason, always come to my mind was Left Eye burning down Andre Rison's house. Like, I don't think this is that extreme.
No.
It's obviously not OJ extreme, but are there like other cringy relationships or things in sports that you kind of remind that can you put this to? I guess this.
Gosh, that's tough.
It's like there've been some weird ones, like Dennis Rodman, Carmen Electra is kind of odd.
Yeah, that was very odd.
But this is not a celebrity. This is just a rando child.
Yeah. Yes. Someone who could be his granddaughter.
Yes.
Like that's.
My thinking too is like, if you're 0-3, like is North Carolina still going to ride with this as being a distraction and a shit show everywhere you go?
I don't know, like it's going to be very interesting. Now they've started to really, in the spring portal, they probably were more active than almost anybody.
Yeah.
Not named Texas Tech, who apparently just in on all human beings.
You get a bag.
But
it's like, you get a bag. You get a bag.
Yeah.
Go for it, man.
But they were in that because they've got to rebuild the whole roster and do something. I don't know. Like, I'm intrigued by, Gio Lopez, their quarterback and all that, and some of the guys they've brought in a little bit, but they've also lost some guys who are some of their better players. They've got the Amari Thompson, the linebacker, I think is going to wind up at Penn State. And, they've lost some of those guys who were the better players on the team last year. And I don't know if they've replaced them in kind.
I don't think they have.
So if the better players are leaving because the opportunity this year, it seems to me like people are expecting a little bit of a topsy-turvy year, which most year ones are. Like there's not many coaches who just go in and fix the whole thing right away.
Not at all.
The year one is always topsy-turvy. You're learning new systems. And I don't think that Mac Brown and Bill Belichick will do anything that you would say the same way.
That's another thing too. Like, why would you go from one older dude to another?
Yeah, no, it like none of it makes sense. And then I'm wondering if, because he was dating this girl when he got this job, if it came up like, hey, what's the deal with this girlfriend? Like, is this going to be any kind of liability for us in a PR sense that you're a 72-year-old man that's dating a 24-year-old, like somebody who is literally a third of your age?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm not trying to judge here, but it's very strange.
Oh, it's cringy. Like, I know, like, for me personally, I've always thought about that. Like, I don't think I could ever go 10 years younger than myself if put in that situation.
10 was about my limit when I was dating. Like, when I was 38, if you were 28, like, that was fine. I said 38. Yeah. So, like, 38 and 28 was okay. A decade was passable at this point in your life, but it was still a little bit difficult, right? Because there is a gap. And then like my wife and I'm 5 years older than she is. So that's about a comfortable wheelhouse.
That's normal.
That's a comfortable wheelhouse. But I remember, like, occasionally you'd be like, you know what? I will go out with a 25-year-old. I'm going to do it. And then you'd like go out on a date or two and you'd be like, this is
how'd that conversation go?
This is a lot, man. This is difficult. I'm sad that God made me a man and I clearly didn't think about this with my brain. I got to buy this bitch dinner. Man, like, seriously, like those are the thoughts that like run through your head of like, okay, well, oh, wow. Yeah, no, that's cool. Etsy, huh? No, yeah, I don't know. I don't wear bracelets, but I'm open to it.
Just gonna make you one.
Yeah.
Like some fishtails.
Oh no, I do them for men as well. Like, a lot of men don't think of it that way, but really, I mean, when you see them, you're like, no. All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, Emery Winter joins us right here on set, and we are going to discuss 100 men versus one gorilla. And I may mediate this argument because I want to see the points that you have.
Okay.
I'll be the debate mediator here, and then I may interject with my own opinions.
Okay.
I'll be the judge and see who wins. So Emery Winter will sit right here. When we come back, this is the triple option.
Revive Superfood Smoothies. Peel, blend, and enjoy. Fast and easy, and I'm out the door.
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again. And again. And again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time and say, I'm not done.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome in, Paul Catalina, Garrett Ross, Emery Winter joins us. Can we get a third camera?
Yeah,
okay.
hold on.
All right. I'm going to get part. Okay, there we go. So here are the three of us here. So Emery, your feed has been populated by this Barstool thing, and you felt the need to discuss it at length today with us. 100 men versus one gorilla. So I will let you start. Where do you and Garrett differ on this? Do you think the gorilla wins or do you think the men win?
I think the gorilla is just destroying the 100 men. And Garrett, on the other hand, thinks that through the right circumstances and game plan that the men can beat them.
Okay, so let's put this. This is not happening, obviously, in a zoo. This is happening in the wild.
Right.
Okay, so I'm dropping you into the Congo.
Yep.
You and 199 of your gorilla fighting army.
Exactly.
And you can. Are you allowed to use things that you can find? Because the gorilla can do that too, right?
Yeah. So
the gorilla can use tools. They can, can hit you with a stick or a rock or something.
Yeah. So Garrett and I were talking about this whenever I first brought it up. And we said, obviously, no guns or knives or anything like that. But we said the natural elements can be played because both have opposable thumbs.
Yep. Yes.
So people can be wielding, throwing, whatever. And I still think the gorilla just does it hands down. Just because I don't think a lot of people realize not only like what they would be facing if they were like, holy crap, this gorilla is pissed off looking at, although we do have 100 people that, oh my gosh, this gorilla is pissed off and he's about to kill us. Not only that, but also he can
climb the.
He can climb.
There's
His
all these things that
skin's
he
probably
can.
Like
The skin's very tough.
A human is not like really penetrating that.
I've never like touched a gorilla before.
Me either, but I would imagine.
Well, no one has never touched me either. So I don't know, but like I do know. I mean, because I did when I was a kid, I watched a lot. Now I'll tell you one I wouldn't do either. I would not do 100 men versus one chimpanzee.
Oh yeah, chimpanzees will screw you up.
Yeah,
they're like I watched. Like I used to think because when I was a kid, you would see chimpanzees and they'd be like wearing pants and like doing funny stuff. And then like 15 years ago, I saw this documentary on chimps in the wild, and I was like, "Holy no!"
Now you add a ton to that.
Yeah, I was like, okay, like I don't want to like. If I was ever in a place where like, hey, would you like to hold the trained chimp? Like, nope, don't trust him. Absolutely not. I would rather encounter a gorilla than a chimp because gorillas are like, for the most part, pretty chill. Like, they don't provoke things. They are provoked, right? They're not
right.
Like chimps are fire starters, man. They're going to do that. As where a gorilla, he's just going to be like, you're not going to mess with me, right? You're not going to mess with me.
He knows that he's the big bad gorilla.
Yeah.
He's like, so if you come close, if I have
it's like 30 chimps is one gorilla, so no, and I mean, they just sit there with that blank stare on their faces, just waiting for you to step to them, which is why most, animals don't. So Garrett, you believe though, with the right strategy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So think about this. I was thinking in general throughout history, men have been able to come up with ways to take down mammoths, saber-toothed tigers. There's been ways to do this. We're no stranger to this, right? We're the dominant
But
predator.
You couldn't make a spear.
But hold on. I think when you hear, or the cases I've heard for the people that think that, like I do, that the men could do it, I feel like their model is backwards. It's a lot of bros that like are cockstrung and think you've got to have these big dudes to go out there. No, that's not how this works. if think about like the battles you've seen, Gladiator, 300, most of the people doing the damage in these movies are agile, small guys who are in great shape. And then you send in your 5 to 10 big dudes to finish it off, or they're more so there to scare people, right? It's a ploy to cause diversion is how I view it. Okay. So going in and thinking if you have a bunch of muscled up dudes is not the way to do this. I think that you need a few of them, obviously, but the way I was explaining this to Emery, this is probably a terrible way, but if you think about people that are going out and catching gators and stuff, you don't see somebody, unless they're just a dumbass, jump on a gator without wearing them down, getting them tired, and things like that. So I think you have a few people who you got to have extreme agility. You need to have some speed on you and some awareness. And you need to set up something to where you get this gorilla going diagonally and trying to chase people down. I think with them being so strong up top, it is neglectful to try to think we're going to jump him, right? You need to wear it down from the bottom up. I think you get them going sideways. Maybe you have some people with like some rocks or something. You got to go for the Achilles. You wear the legs down, and then once he can't really move that fast, or you got him worn out, then that's when you make your bulk jump. But the notion of like we're just going to out muscle this dude ain't happening. But I think that if you put it in the right game plan, you wear him down, you use like some rocks or something to your advantage. Whether there's got to be something to this, plants, mud, like there's something you can do, but you wear them down. You don't worry about going in with your strength first. And if you have the right strategy, absolutely, you could take out a damn gorilla with 100 guys.
But
okay, so I know this is not real life, but one of the most terrifying villains in all of DC Comics is the Flash villain, Gorilla Grodd. Okay, now he is telepathic, so that's different. I mean, that's different. I mean, he is a telepathic gorilla that was experimented on by mad scientists,
Rocksteady and Bebop.
But the Flash, who can phase through walls, has a very difficult time with Gorilla Grodd. And like the Flash is like he runs at the speed of light. You know, he's got the speed force. So I'm leaning towards Emery right here because these animals are smarter than we give them credit for.
Oh hell yeah, they're smart.
They're smarter than we give them. Almost all animals are smarter than like. You know how smart a squirrel is? Have you ever watched a squirrel like work out a problem?
My sister used to have a pet squirrel.
I haven't.
So like. Look at it. I'm going to this is going to be your life tonight. I promise you, because you're going to fall down a YouTube hole, but just look up us like squirrel gets to bird feeder and like you're trying to see how it can jump to it and they'll work out what they have to do. My uncle just sent me a video of a guy who made like a squirrel maze where they have to go and run through and find it. And on it, it's got like a catapult on it. And so like if they make the wrong mistake and they step in this thing, they fall in this net and it catapults them to another net. And in the air, the squirrels already look to where they're going to land, right? So they know how they're going to land anytime. Listen, the next time you're taking a walk in your neighborhood and you see a squirrel running around, like jumping tree branch to tree branch, it's not random. He's planned it out. He's worked it out. And so even though they have very tiny brains and they only think about nuts and jumping and making other squirrels, like they have think about three things, but they're really good at those three things. Like they're really good at it. Gorillas are almost as intelligent as us. They've got opposable thumbs,
right?
You know, they are stronger than us, bigger than us. So I think like maybe he would get worn down, but you would have to have, I do agree with Garrett. If you're coming at this, I don't even need I need like 7 big guys.
Yeah.
The other 93 have to be like Bruce Lee, like super small, agile, fast, good core strength. Like that's who I'm bringing. Like I'll bring a couple of big brutes.
But if they get close, that gorilla is grabbing him and just twirling him around his head.
Like while he's doing that,
knocking everyone else out.
Yeah.
And then he'll probably just rip off their arms.
Like Loki and the Hulk, right? And here's the thing. You also have to account for some so you've got 100 guys. I'm going to say minimum 25 of them. The minute the first dude gets killed by the gorilla, go, F it. You know, this is a bad idea. And then there's another 25 that he's just going to defeat. right? So now you're down to 50.
Okay.
So now you're down to 50 guys. So you better hope that he's worn himself out, like, ripping apart these other 25 dudes,
Right.
and beating them to a stump. And then you can go after him. But then by the time he's already like wiped out half of your thing by either fear or brute strength, then you're probably going to have some other fear stragglers that don't totally get out of the fight, but they're going to like drop back a little bit. They're going to be like, I'm going to wait until like, this is not my time. I've got kids, like kind of a thing. And then you have people going in. And let's just say, look, I'm very pro gorilla in this. The gorilla, the mankind has not been great to the gorillas.
No, they haven't.
Which is why anytime there's a Gorilla Grodd storyline in the Flash, I get it. Like, I get why he's mad.
Justice for Harambe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and then like the gorilla, here's the deal. Like, these are majestic, unbelievable creatures, these silverback gorillas. And then the second best thing that can happen to them in their life is that they come and live in Denver. I don't like.
They get thrown in a cool climate.
Yeah, like, okay.
Not Houston, Texas, in the middle of January.
Yeah, and then like they sit in a thing and people go, "Oh my gosh!" And look, I'm not anti-zoo or anything. As you guys know, you put me in a zoo or an aquarium, I'm good for the day. But I do think there's part of it that's messed up. That I wouldn't want to be in a human zoo.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want the reverse of the Planet of the Apes thing, but
it's coming. Don't wait.
Yeah.
But then also, like, I feel like by nature, gorillas are pretty cerebral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, like, the whole wearing him out aspect, I just don't really necessarily get, because, I mean, granted, they are in zoos, but whenever you usually see gorillas, they're just like plopped on their butt, just like chilling out. So I think if you have him like other people trying to run around, he's just going to be like watching, being like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah.
And so it'll only matter whenever people start to approach him.
Yeah.
And then whenever they approach him, you're just going to have to all just go after him in hopes of maybe someone can hit this or hurt this gorilla.
Yeah. No, I think if you take rocks and sticks out of the equation, like you throw your one rock and you miss, that's it. Like you're done. So you really have to do this. And again, very pro gorilla in this argument. I not only just pro gorilla, like I think you'd win. I want him to, because I don't know why you'd want to fight a gorilla at all. Like, they've not done anything. Like, literally, you know what? Of all the animals in the world, like, gorillas have never done anything to us.
No.
Like, never want, like, you know what? Like, okay, a killer whale is like come and knocked over our boats and like, hurt people. But I do kind of get we're in their territory.
Oh, I'm all for the killer whales doing that.
But yeah, the killer whale, some of the people are just out on a boat.
Exactly.
Like,
But
that's
still.
not it. Like, but you can't begrudge killer whales. But like, hey, some of these people out on a boat, shoot spears at me.
Yeah.
And I know this guy just has this little stick, but I don't know that that's not some sort of spear. I'm going to knock this boat over. There is some theory that some of them are actually like playing. They think it's like a game. And then like, they don't realize what they're doing. Like, oh, hey, look at this thing. Let me go. Man, I think I can knock this boat over. That'd be fun. Oh, look at the guys. They're just bored. They're out there on the boat. When you see a killer whale,
They can swim.
But like, okay, dolphins have probably never done anything to us. We shouldn't do anything to dolphins. But I mean, like, lions, tigers have just like eaten them random people out in the wilderness. Snakes, you can't trust those bastards. Birds will peck your eyes out.
Oh, you're terrified of birds. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't trust a bird, man. You can't trust a bird. So
well, they're all fake anyway.
So I think the gorilla deserves the smoke the least. And most of them, the silverbacks, live in the Congo, which is a terrible place to be anyway. So I don't know why I think
not to mention they gave us Donkey Kong. So
Donkey Kong.
There's that.
You start spinning. That gorilla starts spinning.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
when
he's wiping out
right
half
here,
of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Giant punch the dojo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're
exactly.
dead. They're dead.
No. I think that's a fair argument there. Sharks, like, man, those things. the scariest things in the world. And look, I've been in the ocean and a shark's like swam by like 300 yards away. I'm like, nope, not today.
Not today. Nope.
Guess what? I'm going to get hot. Going to stay hot. Let's go to the pool. You know, there's a pool right there. Yeah. I've been snorkeling and all that and seen like sharks that won't hurt you, like nurse sharks and hammerheads, maybe not, but they can't really they don't see like the other sharks. So you can kind of get around them. But I mean, I remember being in the Keys one time and snorkeling and like the guy was like, hey, the other boat just saw like a mako shark, so lemon shark or whatever it is. Like we're just gonna get in right now and make sure that none of you get bitten by a shark. So, but I don't know if there's not a lot of shark attacks, but there's like enough to where it's like it's just scary enough. Like I don't go like when I go in the ocean, I don't worry about a shark getting me, but I am aware,
Well, you throw yourself in Australia and you'll be hearing about them every single day, I feel like.
Yeah. So I mean, those Aussie sharks are like, good day, I'm gonna eat you. Get out of my water. No.
Oh no. I got it.
Yeah. I mean, that's so, yeah, no, I think, look, I'm going to say the gorilla outwits the 50 that are left. Because he's going to take down at least a quarter of them. Another quarter will leave, if not more. Like at least 25 are going to leave. There might be 40 that leave. And then there's going to be some guys that you think are tough that you find out are like, no, man, I like
the pure intimidation.
Yeah, I had too many bush lights when you suggested this to me, and I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And then here's the other thing. Like it says one gorilla, but you don't know if at some point he doesn't like bang on his chest and he gets a buddy that tags in,
Yeah,
I don't know really how that works.
No one clarified if it's just one gorilla or one gorilla at a time.
Yeah,
no, it's just one.
It's just one gorilla.
It's
okay,
just
one. It starts getting
an isolated gorilla. But see, that's not really how gorillas work. Like they're all there so you'd have to separate him from the family of gorillas.
Well, there's also like if you're gonna do
like
that,
if you're like, hey, are you trying to kill my dad? Like that's bad.
Yeah, but I still think there's a way you can do it. I think you can, even if if you dug a hole somehow. And you just get him to chase. Like, there's ways to do this. Get him to fall in the hole or something. I still stay. I'm taking the men. I think you could do it. There's ways around it. You have
too much faith in the human.
I do. Look, dude. I'm one of the people that I can't stand humans for the most part. Like 95% of them. But I just think there's a way you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure there. Like I don't know. Oh gosh. I don't know. I'm with him. I'm with Emery on this one. I think fear alone and dumbassery clear out more than half.
That's fair. I mean, that's a fair argument.
The intimidation aspect, just when you initially are like, "Holy shit, that's a big ass gorilla."
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be enough for me to shit my pants.
Oh, definitely.
You ever see like the war movies when they're like the old war movies that are like all lined up and they're like going, you can see like the fear on people's faces, like, because they're about to run at each other
about to die.
and do that, and you're like the fear, like, oh yeah, I'm doing like, and then there's like the one guy who's like really brave, who's like, listen, if we die for freedom. That doesn't like what am I gonna say? Like,
there's no battle cry about a gorilla.
Exactly. What am I gonna say? So like, who's the William Wallace? Like, if they take our lives, they'll never take our freedom for Scotland. Like you're not gonna have that. Like, hey, if we die, it's really dumb. So sorry. But if we win, then we'll have owned the libs. I don't know. Like, I don't think like, yeah. And here's the thing. The fact that he suggested this does highlight one thing. All of us have at least one friend that would be like, I don't need 100. Yeah, I can do it. Like, listen, me, Rico, bro. Big Tony, my boy Ray J, like all those guys, like, I'm mess like the guys from the old neighborhood. You don't mess with them, man. I watched little Skeeve one time, just like boom, like punch a guy who's like 280 pounds, just like right in the neck and dropped him in one punch. And you're like, okay, yeah, I don't know who little Skeeve is, but I don't. Yeah, he's crazy. He's like 5'7". Like 165 of just like, he's just shredded, man. He's just shredded. The guy doesn't do anything but eat lettuce and do sit-ups. Sell weed. That's all he does. You know, like, oh, he could, like, he'd be so fat the gorilla wouldn't even know what to do. And he's smart too, man. Little Skeev's smart. He didn't finish high school, but he's like smart and like a
The
different
smartest
way.
guy I've ever
He's
met.
street smart. He's like, he knows all the street names. So, yeah. All right. Well, I'm siding with Emery. Garrett, I'm sorry. I think the gorilla wins.
Suck it, Garrett.
Yeah.
You suck.
Yeah.
I hope the gorilla. I mean, I'm team gorilla in this, but I just think the men can take it.
Yeah. I do. This has been a very productive discussion that I think has solved many of America's problems.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll do that. So tomorrow we are going to go message board geniuses heavy. We're going to have the wheel, all of that tomorrow in the final episode of the One True Triple Option before the sundown, and then the rebirth, which will come at a later date to be determined. But there will be major announcements. I'm sure the president will be involved.
I hope not.
I'm working on my President Trump, by the way. I'm not great at it yet. Like, I can do like
You can't just babble.
Elon, we love Elon. Love him. You know, but I can't really get the New York part down in it. Like, I can get the kind of raspy that he has now. You know, I can she has beautiful legs. You know, I don't know. If she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her. I can't I don't know. I can't really get my head around it. There's many presidents that I can do. Like Obama, I can do, look, where it is. It's not so cut and dry. The issues are complex. We're going to have to really knuckle down, figure out this healthcare thing. And then, George W. Bush is real easy. He's just like a straight shooting Texan kind of guy. Like, listen, here's the deal. Look, he's flip flopper. You don't want to flip flop. I don't even wear flip flops. Flip flopper's bad. And then his father was like, look, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And then Clinton is really easy. It's just like, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. We did other things. But if the P doesn't go in the V, it's not sex. If the P goes in the M, it's close. Vote for me. Have you met my wife? She's the devil. Those kind of things. So I can do, there's a lot. If I knew what Lincoln truly sounded like, I'd work on a Lincoln. But I don't. I would really I think it would be funny if you go back in time and there's this silver-tongued orator. William Jennings Bryan was like a famous one who ran for president a bunch and never won. Mm-hmm. But he was like this, they always said his silver-tongued orator. And if you just went to hear him and he was just like, I'm going to be president. We need a national currency that's backed by silver, not gold. That would be funny to me.
That would be great.
If you heard Thomas Jefferson talk and he was like, look, man, I'm from Virginia. In Virginia, we do things this way. I know he didn't, but it would be funny to me. That's going to do it for us. Again, the sundown tomorrow for the One True Triple Option. And while I'm here, thank you to the dozens of people who've watched this show. Dozens of people who've watched this show. I love you all. Tomorrow's the last one for a while. This is the Triple Option.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a